The engine hums, a lonely drone in the vast emptiness. Streetlights flicker, casting elongated shadows that dance and writhe with the rhythm of the road. Tonight we delve into the shadows that lurk on the roads less traveled. Stories whispered by truckers huddled around flickering gas station coffee, tales told with wide eyes and hushed voices. These are the chronicles of the open road, where the line between reality and nightmare blurs with every passing mile. Picture this: a desolate stretch of highway, swallowed by an impenetrable fog. Our protagonist, a young woman named Sarah, is driving home after a late shift. The only sounds are the gentle thrum of her engine and the rhythmic swish of her windshield wipers. The miles stretch before her, seemingly endless, the yellow lines on the road her only guide. Suddenly a figure emerges from the fog, a hazy silhouette at the edge of her headlights. It's a man, tall and gaunt, wearing a long coat that billows in the ghostly wind. Sarah's heart pounds in her chest. There's something off about the hitchhiker, something unsettling in his posture. Her instincts scream at her to keep driving, but a flicker of compassion makes her hesitate. She slows the car, rolling down her window just a crack. "Do you need help?" she calls out, her voice barely a whisper. The man takes a step closer, and the fog seems to swirl around him. "I need a ride," he rasps, his voice a low growl that sends chills down Sarah's spine. Fear grips Sarah's throat. "I'm sorry," she stammers, her hand trembling as she reaches for the window button. "I can't help you." The man takes another step closer, and for a fleeting moment the fog parts just enough to reveal a glimpse of his face. His eyes, glowing with an unnatural intensity, pierce through the mist. Terror lends speed to Sarah's actions. She slams her foot on the gas, the car lurching forward, leaving the hitchhiker behind. The image of the man's eyes, burning with an unknown hunger, is seared into her memory. Our next story takes us to the heartland of America, where endless fields of corn stretch towards the horizon. A young man, Jake, is driving home from a late-night study session at the library. His beat-up pickup truck rumbles down the deserted highway. Jake is tired, his mind still buzzing with equations and historical dates. He adjusts the rearview mirror, catching a glimpse of his own reflection. That's when he sees it. A flicker of movement in the back seat, a fleeting shadow that vanishes as quickly as it appeared. He glances back over his shoulder, heart pounding, but the back seat is empty. "Just my tired eyes," he mutters to himself, forcing a chuckle. He tries to shake off the feeling, focusing on the road ahead. But a few miles down the road, he catches another glimpse of movement in the rearview mirror. This time it's more distinct. A figure shrouded in darkness, sitting directly behind him. Jake slams on the brakes, the truck skidding slightly on the asphalt. He spins around, his heart hammering against his ribs, but again, the back seat is empty. His breath comes in ragged gasps as fear starts to take hold. He's alone in the middle of nowhere with something he can't explain. The logical part of his brain screams that it's just a trick of the light. But deep down, a primal fear tells him otherwise. He continues driving, his grip on the steering wheel white-knuckled. The figure appears and disappears, always in the periphery of his vision. Each time he thinks he sees it, adrenaline surges through his veins. The silence in the truck becomes oppressive, broken only by the sound of his own ragged breathing. The miles stretch on, an agonizing crawl. The cornfields outside his windows now seem menacing, their rustling stalks whispering secrets he can't decipher. The stars overhead, once a source of comfort, now feel cold and distant. He knows, with a chilling certainty, that he's not alone, that something followed him from the darkness that night. Our final tale takes us on a detour from the familiar, a journey into the heart of forgotten places, where the past lingers like a shadow, and the present feels like a distant memory. Imagine, if you will, a young couple, Emily and Ben, driving home from a weekend getaway, their spirits high and their hearts light. They're laughing, reminiscing about their trip, their car humming along a winding country road. The landscape around them is serene, a patchwork of fields and forests, a perfect backdrop for their journey. As they drive, the familiar landmarks of their usual route disappear, replaced by dense forests and rolling hills. The road seems to stretch endlessly, a ribbon of asphalt cutting through the wilderness. They've taken a wrong turn, strayed from the beaten path, and their GPS has chosen this inopportune moment to die. The screen flickers and goes dark, leaving them with no digital guide. Lost but not entirely concerned, they decide to enjoy the unexpected detour. After all, sometimes the best adventures are the ones unplanned. The sun begins its descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The beauty of the sunset is mesmerizing, casting long shadows and bathing the world in a warm, golden light. Soon they stumble upon a sign, its paint faded and peeling, pointing towards a town they've never heard of, Silent Hollow. The name itself is intriguing, a whisper of mystery. Intrigued by the name and eager to ask for directions, they decide to venture into the unknown. The road ahead beckons, a promise of discovery. The road leading to Silent Hollow is narrow and poorly maintained, overgrown with weeds. It feels as though nature is reclaiming it, slowly but surely. As they drive deeper into the woods, the air grows heavy, thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. The forest seems to close in around them, the trees standing like silent sentinels. The last rays of sunlight struggle to penetrate the dense canopy above, plunging the road into a premature twilight. The shadows lengthen, and the world takes on a more ominous tone. They finally reach the outskirts of Silent Hollow, and a sense of unease settles over them. The town seems to be holding its breath, waiting. The town is eerily quiet, its houses dark and dilapidated. Windows stare back at them like empty eyes, and doors hang askew on their hinges. The streets are deserted, not a soul in sight. It's as if the town has been forgotten by time, left to decay in silence. They drive slowly through the town, their unease growing with every passing moment. Each turn reveals more of the same desolation, a place abandoned and left to rot. The silence is unnerving, broken only by the crunch of their tires on the cracked asphalt. It's a silence that feels almost tangible, pressing in on them from all sides. They pass a playground, its swings swaying gently in the breeze. The sight is haunting, a reminder of happier times now long gone. The sight of a child's swing set, abandoned and forgotten, sends a shiver down Emily's spine. It's a stark contrast to the laughter and joy such a place should hold. They reach what appears to be the town square, its centerpiece a crumbling fountain choked with weeds. The water is long gone, leaving only a dry, cracked basin. The buildings surrounding the square are equally dilapidated. Once grand structures now stand as mere shadows of their former selves, their facades crumbling and windows shattered. As they sit there, their car idling in the heart of the ghost town, they notice something strange. A feeling of being watched, of not being alone. At the far end of the square, a single light flickers to life in one of the buildings. It's a beacon in the darkness, drawing their attention. It's a faint glow, barely perceptible in the gathering darkness. Yet, it stands out starkly against the backdrop of decay. Curiosity, mixed with a growing sense of dread, compels them to investigate. They feel an inexplicable pull towards the light, a need to uncover its source. They cautiously approach the building, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Each step feels heavier, laden with anticipation and fear. As they get closer, they hear the faint sound of music emanating from within. It's a haunting melody, one that seems to seep into their very bones. They reach the building, its door slightly ajar, and peer inside. The interior is shrouded in shadows, the flickering light casting eerie patterns on the walls. The room is dimly lit, the source of the light a flickering oil lamp casting long shadows. The air is thick with the scent of old wood and dust. In the center of the room they see an old woman sitting in a rocking chair, her eyes closed. She seems to be in a trance, lost in her own world. She's humming softly to herself, the same haunting melody they heard from outside. The sound is both beautiful and unsettling, a lullaby from another time. Emily and Ben exchange a nervous glance. Their hearts are pounding, a mix of fear and curiosity coursing through their veins. The woman seems oblivious to their presence, lost in her own world. Her rocking chair creaks softly with each movement, a rhythmic sound that adds to the eerie atmosphere. They hesitate for a moment, unsure whether to announce themselves or to simply slip away unnoticed. The decision weighs heavily on them, the unknown stretching out before them like a dark, uncharted sea. And so, we find ourselves at the end of our journey, back from the shadowed lanes and desolate highways. But the stories linger, echoing in the quiet hum of your engine, in the rustle of leaves against your window. Remember, the next time you find yourself alone on the road, shrouded in darkness or fog, that these tales are more than just stories. They are whispers from the road, reminders that the world holds mysteries we may never fully understand. Drive safe, and keep watching the shadows. If you enjoyed these tales of terror from the tarmac, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more chilling journeys into the unknown. And if you dare, share these stories with your friends, and remind them to be careful out there on those lonely roads. You never know what lurks just beyond the reach of your headlights. Drive safe, and keep watching the shadows.